Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to this month's edition of Artist Alchemy. This is the program, gosh, we've been doing for almost 2 years now, where we get together with creative people, artists from all walks of the arts, and talk about wonderful projects and programs. Today, we've got the creators of the new play Out to Pasture that you'll be meeting in just a moment. What is alchemy anyway? It's a medieval pseudoscience, and we kind of use that term to talk about the magic that artists do to create what they do in a sometimes mysterious and impressive ways. So good afternoon, Alison and Jenny. Great to see you.
Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Um, Alison is the actress, the star of the new play Out to Pasture, written by Jenny Connors. I'm sorry, directed by Jenny Connors. Michelle Carter, the author, was not able to join us, but we've got the director and the star. So great to see you both.
Thanks
Great
for
to see
having us.
you.
No, thanks for agreeing to come on. Hey, it's exciting. We're finally getting back to live theater. Oh my gosh, after 2 years of exile with COVID, and I know you all have struggled with that. So, what did you do the past 2 years to kind of survive the lack of live theater? What can you share?
Well, Alison, why don't you go first?
Well, this is how Out to Pasture actually started because I was so bored. And to be honest, I had this fear because I was getting older, sitting in my house, staring at walls, that my brain wouldn't be able to remember words or lines again. So I was looking for things and I was thinking, oh, I'll do a monologue. I'll just, I'll find a monologue in a play and just remember it and act it out to my kids who probably have no interest. And I came across my friend Michelle Carter's blog. I think it was a blog. It was on Facebook, and it was just it was beautifully written, and it was about her experiences being a middle-aged woman. And I loved it so much. I kept reading it. And I was going, "That's my monologue."
Ah.
So I said, "Hey, would you write me a monologue? Because this is much more inspiring for me than finding something in a play." And she said, "Sure." She'd never written for the stage before, but she was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it." And that's how Out to Pasture came to be born, because she wrote this monologue. I put it on YouTube, recorded it in my bedroom, and I posted on Facebook, said, "Hey, look at my monologue."
Oh.
And Jenny saw it and said, "I love this. This is what Women's Theatre Collective," which Jenny will surely talk about,
Yes.
is all about. And we need to do a play. And that's when I went,
How long ago was that? What time frame? Is this early on or
when was that, Jenny? It was
2020 or
2020 or 2021?
It was 2021 that we started working on it.
okay?
Okay.
2020 and 2021, not being able to produce anything with Women's Theatre Collective, a lot of time was spent brainstorming about what we would do and writing and working on projects behind the scenes. So 2021, I saw that you posted it, and I contacted Alison, and I said, we can't do it yet, but this is what Women's Theatre Collective is all about. And so, yeah, it took us 9 months. We always joke that it's like we had a baby or something.
Isn't that what theater's about? I mean,
yeah.
a birthing process.
The gestation.
Labor of love. Yeah. It took us
Is that how you two met?
No.
You knew each other before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we've worked. We met at Sutter Street Theatre, is where we first presented the play on stage, and we met there, right, Jenny? That's where we met. We
met there. What, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah,
something like that.
And where we still work.
And
work together.
We did a show together, and Alison was fantastic in it, and it was Anything Goes.
Oh, fun.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What part did you play?
Bonnie.
Yeah.
Bonnie.
She was hilarious.
Oh,
and it was my first bit of theater in the area since I had moved here. And then I just stayed on there, and then Alison and I went on to work at the theater together and then work together on other projects. So
You
we
found
work
your
well
people
together.
through theater. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So it started out as a monologue, and I love the subtitle for the show. Maybe 50 isn't fabulous after all. And so, is it a comedy, or I mean, talk about the play?
Oh,
Well,
well,
it
go,
is
Jenny.
It's a
it is
loaded
a
question.
comedy.
I know the answer.
It is a comedy, and it's not a comedy. It just happens to be that it's so relatable that it's funny, and there's a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of poignant moments, but there's a lot of moments that people were laughing. We didn't even know they would find moments funny that they were cracking up.
There's moments I'm crying. I am crying hysterically, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, okay. But I think it's because I think we would talk about it afterwards. We talk about these reactions from the audience afterwards, and I think it's because it hits home so much that the audience react in different ways, and they just don't know. It's like, yes, that's what I'm like, and they're kind of laughing and crying at the same time.
What's the difference in the experience for women in the audience versus men? Can you talk about that? What have you seen in the performances you've done? Right? Okay.
Well, first of all, our audiences tend to be 90% female.
Oh, it is? Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, maybe 95. The men who come to see it, they enjoy it, they laugh. But the women, right from the get-go, you can hear the laughter start the moment they recognize something that is from their own life.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it actually starts with no words at all, and there's already laughter just from the actions that I'm doing, because there's a relatable, like, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah, moments that you don't normally see from a woman's life on stage or in movies or TV, we are just putting right there. And I think it's really fun for women to be able to see that and respond and laugh together. Oh, we all do that.
Oh, that's wild. So interesting, though, that the percentage is that high, female to male. The only thing I can share, and it's a totally different type of piece, of course, but we did the Vagina Monologues just before COVID. I guess it was 2019 in our smaller theater in Marysville, and it was for a cause, the women's shelter here in town, and it's interesting because even some of the men that came were very reluctant. And not, it's not that they're not interested, that's not fair, but a great deal of discomfort. And maybe that's part of it, and this is maybe a little lighter piece, although, as you say, it has some very poignant moments. And for any of us, male or female, the aging process is a mixed bag, right? It's a challenge. Yeah, so that's fascinating. Well, I hope we can do better than that. Maybe we can break the average and get a few more progressive males in the community to come out and have this experience, because
we always we get really positive feedback from the men. I've never heard anything where they've gone, no, that wasn't for me, or that made me feel uncomfortable. They might have had some uncomfortable moments, but they were. It seemed that they felt that was something that they enjoyed in a strange way. So yeah, it's I know my husband enjoyed it a lot.
Well, what's interesting is, for as long as there's been theater, we've all been going to see shows that are mainly centered around male characters, and it certainly doesn't keep women away. So it's interesting that a show centered around a woman
exactly
would keep men away.
That's so true, Jenny.
It's a great point. Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. Well, speaking of men who enjoyed the show, I know in some of the materials, press materials, our friend TJ Fassler, who I looked up, and obviously is a Sacramento area theater educator, said some very nice things. The performance by Alison Gilbreath was breathtaking. She's relatable, inviting, and had equal moments of vulnerability and empowerment, and never in a false way. And in the interest of full disclosure, there is a male presence on stage, at least during some of the show, right? Eric Dahl is the actor's name. He was a fantastic stage partner, never trying to upstage the clear focal point of each scene, but being the foil as various characters that help drive her inner turmoil and thoughts shared with us. So there's a male perspective on the play. So there is a male presence at times during the show.
There is.
Okay, that's not a spoiler alert, I hope. Oh, gosh.
Well, it's interesting because the play was written as a one-woman show. And as we were going along, it just sort of developed. You know, when you start with an original script and you're workshopping it from the very beginning, you can do so much. And it just naturally lended itself to, well, what if the man she was talking about was there? Or what if this or if that? And over time, we had several moments where man would enter, and he got written into the script. And Eric, I saw him in Drowsy Chaperone at the State Theater up in Auburn. Stack, I can't remember the exact name, State Theater Acting Company, I think. And he was fantastic in that. And I went right up to him and said, what do you think of being in this show where it's not focused on you at all? And he does a wonderful job.
Oh, yeah, he does. He's fantastic.
It really adds to the show.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Can't wait. Yeah. So talk about the idea. I'm sorry, before I do that, talk about the workshopping piece, because that's always fascinated me. I've never personally been involved in that aspect of theater, of developing a script, but what's that like? I mean, you're sitting around and bouncing ideas, and what's the, you know, you've got a fresh piece you're working on. How does that work? Can you comment on that?
Well, from my point of view, what I enjoyed was we had the writer, the actor, and the director. And the director, who Jenny also writes too. I do not write, but and I don't like the process of writing very much. I get very frustrated because I get stuck. So, but it was really nice to have this collaboration and kind of go through the frustrating moments together, because, you know, it's not always just saying, you know, it's not always just plain sailing in anything that is created. And I feel, especially with writing, so, you know, you'd go like this, and it was really nice to see it from their point of view, that how they got over those challenges of, well, we need this, like the man. I really feel there needs to be a man here. This would really help. Or I really feel this scene needs to probably not be in it, or, you know, we need to add a scene. And then what was nice is we all had our own little things to contribute, and I could contribute it as an actress, you know, well, on stage, how would that feel? How would that be? What would that look like? And then from Jenny as a director and / writer, and then Michelle as the writer.
Really figuring out what works and what doesn't in real time, I guess. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I wish Michelle could be here today. She couldn't make it, but you know, we got together and she was just really open to, okay, let's make this a full play. And she had ideas right away. And so she wrote a script incredibly quickly, really. And we sat down together and went through it. And that's how each session went, is going through the script. And then I wanted to stand it up almost immediately so that we could get a feel, because Michelle hadn't written for theater before, so that she could see how it relates on stage, and we could get a feel from Alison about how it felt on stage. And a lot of it is sharing our ideas about, well, what is the feel that we want from this moment? What do we want the audience to take away from this moment? And what is the character going through? And what is the truth? And so, you know, there's push and pull. And I think that actually creates better work when you have that. But it was a fantastic collaboration. I talk about this all the time.
Oh, me too. It was fantastic. And you know, we've both been doing this a long time. And it was, to me, one of the best collaborations I've ever had in my experience
Absolutely.
of theater.
Absolutely. Me too.
And I think that's what is seen on stage too. That's why it's because, it's a successful piece.
It's a putting aside of the ego and just focusing on the strength of the show and the truth of the show, and the audience's perspective. And that can be very difficult, when we're also emotionally invested in it. And I think we were incredibly lucky to work together.
I love hearing about that part of the process. Let's talk about another important aspect of this production. You've been doing this consistently, regardless of the venue. I think you've turned this into a vehicle for fundraising for local women's organizations in each community where you perform. Where did that? And we'll talk about our cause in just a moment. But where did that idea come from?
Well, actually, Women's Theater Collective started with that idea.
Okay.
That was the origin of Women's Theater Collective, was to use theater to support and empower women and make a change in this world on how women are treated, how safe women are, just change the world for women in general. That was the thing that sparked my passion for it. And so every production that we do, that is now in the bylaws, every production we do raises funds for a local nonprofit that directly aids women's causes.
Wow, that's amazing. So that was baked into the very origin of the organization.
That was the start. It actually started with, I was angry, actually. One day I was angry at how I saw a young woman being treated. And I felt powerless. And I just realized there's got to be some way I can do something. And theater is my passion in life. And it was almost obvious when I put the two together, and I put the word out to as many women as I could. And the response was amazing. I didn't know if anyone would be interested, and it was just an idea off the top of my head. And I sent out a text to as many women as I could. And the response was amazing.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
Locally here, we talked to our friend Jenna Mckay and her Jenna Mckay Foundation as the partner organization for these performances coming up next weekend at our Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. Jenna Mckay has a remarkable story, having been a survivor of sex trafficking at an early age. And she's turned that into her calling in life. And she's now a nationally known trainer. She goes out and meets with law enforcement agencies, medical staff, hospital workers, educators. In fact, I saw her, just kind of bumped into her at in the offices of the Marysville Joint Unified School District the other day. We had separate meetings, and there she was doing a training. So very active, and I follow her on Facebook. My gosh, she's all over the country just doing this important work, and remarkable young woman. So we're so proud to be able to help support her cause as well as the Women's Theater Collective. So, if you're watching and you didn't know about the performances this weekend, we'll hope you'll be there and be entertained in a remarkable way with live theater. But it's kind of theater for a cause too, which is nice on a number of levels. So before we get too far down the road here, talk about yourselves a little bit more as far as your backgrounds in theater. I'll let you decide who's going first. How'd you get into theater? Where'd you train? Why do you do theater?
So I come from England, and I trained at the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts. I've always wanted to do it. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking it might have been that I didn't get the part of Veruca Salt and I got a part of a Numpa Lumpa instead. And I was like, I'm gonna be good. So, I was thinking, where did it come? But I just from a very early age. And then at 17, I took myself to London I wanted to go to RADA, which is the top
Yeah,
school.
sure.
And I auditioned for them, and they were like, yeah, but you need to go and do some stuff. There's basically what one of them said, you need to go travel, do some stuff. And in England, it's very common for people after school to go on a year out. We call it year out, and they get on the trains and they go through Europe. And so I did. I went, okay, I'll go and get myself some.
So you went to RADA right out of high school?
No, I went to audition for RADA and all the top schools. And I came back after that year and I auditioned again, and I didn't get into RADA. But I did get into Academy of Live and Recorded Arts, which was a good school, and trained there. And then I came out and I worked a little bit, and then I went back into what was called the Science of Acting. It was run by a Russian professor called Sam Kogan. And he worked with, his professor was a student of Stanislavski.
Oh, of course.
Or is that right? Or maybe it's one step down. His professor was professor of science. It was like one step down, it was like 1 step.
2 degrees of separation.
Yeah, it was like 2 degrees of separation, exactly.
That's pretty good.
So it's very Stanislavski based, which is what I was really into, and still am. And still am. Oh. And so I spent a lot of time training with him. Beautiful. Which is is the technique that I use for Out to Pasture, really. To be as authentic and believable as I can. So yeah, and then I came here.
Doing it ever since, right?
Doing it ever since. I mean, I did have a break. I had 2 lovely boys, and it's hard to do theater and be a mom at the same time. 2 young kids. It was hard, and I took a break, and came back.
Now look at you. And you live with some guy who's involved in theater.
Some guy.
Yeah.
My husband is the head professor of arts.
Yeah, he's the department chair, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Theater department at our very own Yuba Community College, the beautiful 300-seat theater and lots of wonderful productions.
Yes.
Including virtual during COVID. He didn't give up. So we appreciate
that. No, he did some amazing work online, actually.
Yeah, the Laramie project was pretty powerful. So
yes. So so that's my journey, and here I am.
And here we are in Northern California. Jenny, how about you? Where did you get started in your theater journey?
Well, I don't even remember when I was first exposed to it, but I did start as a kid in the different theater workshops, and doing shows like Annie and Big River and Bye Bye Birdie and all that.
Oh, fun.
And once I had a taste of it, there was no going back. I loved it. So I didn't do anything too prestigious in terms of training, but I actually went to a community college training program that was amazing. And I've recently heard that it closed. It was the actor training program at Solano Community College. And it was headed up by George McGuire and David Leonard. And it had sponsors like Tom Hanks and people like that. And it was fantastic. It was a 2-year intensive training. We did Stanislavski. We did mask, clown, Shakespeare, stage combat, movement, voice, dance, all those things, stagecraft, tech work, dramaturgy. And it was wonderful training. And after that, I went to UC Santa Barbara, and I studied with Naomi Izuki on playwriting.
Wow.
And I also studied theater art from around the world and theater history. And and then I wasn't quite sure what to do with all of that. And I left and somehow ended up in business management and bookkeeping and that kind of thing. And so like Alison, I had a break, and it feels like that break was the most lifeless part of my life. And I couldn't stand it. And then I got involved again here, and it's my whole life now, and
good,
never turning back.
Oh, we're glad you did.
Yeah,
we're glad you did. So let's we touched on the fact that this is a a fundraiser for two women-centric organizations. But what about more generally the idea of theater for a cause? The idea of creating a theatrical piece, around a theme and leveraging it as a fundraiser, or just, you could even look at the broader picture of art for social change, but let's focus on theater. Any thoughts about that, based on your experiences or your studies in theater? Using this theater is such a powerful medium, and certainly anything we see, whether it's a movie or a live stage show, there's those points of connection on the human condition, or on the scope of things going on in society. Just I'd be interested in any thoughts you had on that.
Well, theater is the mirror for society. It's where we see ourselves reflected, and so much of it going back has been about what is happening in a particular culture at the time. It is the people's response to what's happening around them when they don't have any other power. So it can be both entertaining, but also very impactful. I know that when I go see theater, and when seeing theater from the time I was young, it influenced how I saw myself as a young woman, and what opportunities I had, and how I saw the world around me. So I think it can be very powerful.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
I remember one of my professors saying, theater is to reassure the audience that we all live the same way, and to have that connection. And whether that be, we're making political points, or we're highlighting an issue, or we're just saying this is humanity, and it's okay. It's all okay. We all experience the same things in some form or shape. And I never forget that, and thinking, this theater's a cause.
Yes.
It's
kind of almost baked into the DNA of the art form, isn't it?
Really. Yeah.
Holding up
Absolutely.
that mirror, holding up the mirror, right? We have to look at ourselves on stage.
Yeah.
You suppose there are Ukrainian playwrights scribbling away?
Oh, yeah.
Dark times that they're experiencing, and
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that gross imperialism that's going on over there. It's just
eventually we will see works from them.
Yes,
that
we will.
Not only teach us to look at things maybe differently and to be more aware of the dangers around us, but also it feeds us history in a way that's more relatable than sitting in a history class. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What other projects do you and the Women's Theater Collective have queued up? Anything in the works right now, or what's the next big thing?
Well, we have been working on one piece for, over a year now. The working title is Our Words, and it's a collection of stories from multiple women from different facets of life. And several of us put in stories that are being turned into scenes and monologues and that sort of thing. And then I also went out and interviewed some ladies. I was lucky enough to be able to interview a local winemaker in Napa who's been highly successful, interviewed a woman of color who has been a top executive at Macy's, and get to hear about how that experience was from her, and spoke to a young woman who's studying science and has been on trips to Norway, and explained what it has been like for her to try and be a part of a culture that is primarily male. And then there's other stories that are more silly and, so it's going to be a show that's made up of every facet of being a woman in today's world. Whereas Out to Pasture is very focused on one woman and her inner dialogue, and what it is to try and come to this middle point in life and be everything to everyone. This show is going to give more of a tapestry, a mosaic of what it is to be woman.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
It's quite a project.
Very nice.
So it's taking time, and we don't want to rush it because it needs to be good. So we're working on that. We are also looking at producing a musical. Next year will be the first musical.
Oh.
I can't say what it is, but every show we do needs to bring a authentic and positive portrayal of women and be focused on women. And so that's all I can say. It has to do with women in the past who did great work. And we are also looking at another project that's being the idea is being workshopped for writing another show that is a bit historical and will have a fun bent to it. But I can't say much more than that until
you've got a lot going on. I'm sitting here,
yes.
You're sitting around looking for something to do. You clearly are deep into the next productions. So,
and the very next thing we're doing is a fundraiser for the Women's Theater Collective and for Sutter Street Theater called Theater Prom. Oh. So very excited about that. That'll be April 23rd, and it is a prom with a theater twist and extremely inclusive. Anyone 14 and up can come. And Moulin Rouge theme is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so we have a lot going on.
And I know I see social media posts that you all do. Is that the best way for people to follow you and what you're doing? And
we're on Instagram and Facebook, and we also have website womenstheatercollective.org that you can go to, and you can sign up to get onto the mailing list. So a lot of ways to keep track of what we're doing.
And it's all at the Folsom Street Theater?
No, we don't have a home. Out to Pasture premiered at Sutter Street Theater. They were very generous and donated their space to us. And so that was for Out to Pasture. Our first production was actually February of 2020. So we didn't get to do much more after that, but that was actually at Chicory Coffee and Tea in Sacramento, across the street from the Capitol.
So multiple venues. All right, that's
so
great.
We're sort of wanderers without a physical space, but I prefer to partner with other theaters that have the spaces and bring shows there than spend overhead on a space that we could be giving to the nonprofits that we partner with.
Well, that's a beautiful model. We're so thankful to have met you and to be able to bring this incredible show to our community. So
we're excited to go there.
Oh yeah, and it's really the first outside performance that we're bringing in. We've done a couple little local things, but the idea of bringing in a theater company from it's funny. I grew up in Los Angeles. Driving an hour to dinner was no big deal. Some people I think are reluctant here to, Folsom is not that far, or Grass Valley or Nevada City or Chico, but, we don't all want to do that. And so having something served up right here locally, that eliminates that excuse. So why aren't you coming out to see this show? So, thank you for bringing it up here. What else? What haven't we talked about that we should discuss? Any other top of mind issues that you'd like to bring out? Not to put you on the spot, but hey, come out and support live theater. Right?
Yes, do support live theater. I think people have gotten. I know this happened to me. Gotten very comfortable and safe feeling at home. But I think there is so much that you miss by not going out in person. Put your mask on, be safe. But you're missing that dynamic. There was actually a study done once, and I wish I could remember where I read it. But the study showed that there was an actual energy that exchanges with the audience and the people on stage, and it's cathartic. It feeds the soul. And it's sad to see that people aren't going out as much to the theater, and I can understand it,
Sure.
given where we've been. It's hard. but it is so important for us. We don't want to lose those arts in our culture.
Yeah. Yeah. The impact on arts organizations has been extreme. So, as you know, we'll get back there.
I think supporting new work as well is important, because it's not 100% easy, to say, here you go, and here's something new. There's it's courageous in some ways. And so I always like to go out and support new work, because I know that wasn't an easy journey, I'm sure.
Totally agree. And, trotting out the old war horses is great.
It's
we
great.
love musicals and
We do.
and everything in between, all the modern theater. But you're right. That's a great point, Alison. The idea of experiencing something like totally new, just created in the last few months, right? Here it is. And it's, you breathe life into it, and it'll be a tremendous experience. So, well, we're so looking forward to welcome you into our beautiful new Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. 2 performances this coming weekend: Saturday, March 26th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, the 27th, 2 p.m. matinee. We'll have the concession stand open and the bar, as well as the theater art gallery. If you haven't been into the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts, it started life as a 1950s vintage movie theater, and we've changed the title, just expanded it to the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts, because it's so much more. It's not just movies anymore. We do movies too, but we've got live theater, we've got the art gallery, beautiful remodeled lobby. So come out and just see the space and experience this remarkable show for 2 great causes in support of the Women's Theater Collective and the Jenna Mckay Foundation. Tickets are available at YubaSutterArts.org, or you can always call our office if you want to do it over the phone, or come by and drop off cash or a check. We take all forms of payment. So 530-742-ARTS, 742-2787. You want to have some fun with James Lipton's questions that he would ask his guests, his actor studio interview program. Do you remember that?
Yes. I love that program.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, James Lipton is just an amazing guy, and totally steeped in theater, of course. But he asked all of his guests these 10 questions, more or less the same ones when I did my original research for this show. I thought, hey, we can borrow great ideas, and I thought this was a good one. I'll let you decide if you both want to answer each question or
pass,
it back.
Jenny, pass.
That's fine.
We should both answer.
Okay, good. All right, you're on. Okay, so we'll start off with, what's your favorite word?
Oh, no, I don't think I can say that.
We've heard them all. Hey, we've heard them all.
Fabulous.
I like serendipity.
Oh, love it. That's a new one. Those are both new ones. What's your least favorite word?
Oh. Can I curse?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I think bitch is my least favorite word.
Mistake, I think, maybe something like that.
Good. I like it. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Theater for me. Theater and communication, authentic communication, I would say.
For me, it's that moment of true connection, emotional vulnerability, collaborating, and that creative high.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. What turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Bullying, manipulating, for both trying to manipulate your own life and others, perhaps.
That's a good answer. Selfishness, cruelty, unkindness.
Yeah.
What? And here you can cut loose. What's your favorite curse word?
Are you sure? I come from England.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
You can allude to it if you'd prefer, or just go for it. We won't lose any sponsors because of this. Oh, wait, we don't have any sponsors.
I was about to say.
We self-produce.
I rarely curse. I sound like such a goody two shoes.
Bless you, my child.
I curse all the time.
You do in the show.
Oh, I do in the show. That's something probably we need to make very clear.
But it's
That's
so
right. I
funny.
think this is billed as 18
it's
and over.
hilarious.
I do you guys say this a lot in America? You go, oh, for fuck's sake.
I've heard
I say
it.
this, yeah,
I've heard
all
it.
the time. FFS.
Yeah.
FFS, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that's my
You can
favorite.
pass Jenny if you know.
I think when I'm really moved to curse, I think I do sometimes say for fuck's sake.
Okay.
But when
hanging
you said
around
that, it
Alison.
was like ding
I
ding.
think
ding.
Yes, that's
I
like
say
that.
it's
Hanging
rare.
around with Alison, say.
It's rare.
What sound or noise do you love?
Applause.
Hey, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love
Perfect.
applause too. I love birds in the morning.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds you, yeah, enjoy the day. Enjoy the day.
Absolutely.
I love the
What's-
sound of water too.
Oh yeah, me too. Running water.
Rain. Not that we hear that very often,
Rain.
right? Mm.
We had it a few days ago. Yeah, it was beautiful.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Mouth noises.
Mm.
I hate them. I hate them. I will leave the room.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I can't think of something. Probably something very loud. If I'm trying to concentrate, you know.
Sure. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I'd like to open a bakery.
Ooh.
Yes. I consider it every now and then I go, no.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do a bakery as well as everything else.
they started like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something.
Right.
Yeah. No.
I kind of what I was planning. I would have been a field hockey player
Wow.
had I not been an actress.
Oh,
Really?
So I think about that a lot. Like, you know, I wonder what my life would have been like. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
And also maybe something to do with psychology.
Me too.
Theater, psychology. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think they're connected. What profession would you not like to pursue?
Lots.
Mm.
Anything
There's
office.
so many.
Anything. If I had to in a cubicle, anything in a cubicle.
Oh. Yes.
That would not be pretty for me.
I wouldn't want to do anything sewer related.
Oh,
I think of the people who do those kinds of jobs, the cleaning up jobs, the dirty jobs, and I just think, oh, thank God for them.
like I had that
Really?
TV show,
God,
right?
yeah.
Mike Rowe, was that
Mm.
World's Dirtiest Jobs or whatever it was called? It was
Mhm.
to your point. Yeah. Oh, that's great. And
My
last,
hat,
go
sorry,
ahead.
hats off.
Go ahead, Alison.
I was going to say my hat's off to nurses and doctors, but I could not,
Indeed.
especially these days. I just
Unbelievable.
really, they're amazing.
True. So last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You were doing good all along.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice. Have a rest and
Oh.
we'll go again.
Oh,
I like that.
well, that was fun. That was fun.
I like that.
Alison Gilbreath, Jenny Connors, so great to see you today. see you this week for final dress or tech rehearsal, and then of course this
Yes.
weekend 2 great shows. So
Yeah, thank you. We're excited. Thank you for
thanks.
having us.
Thanks also to our technical support team, producer Abby Cecina, technical director Shante Arroyo. Until next time, that's it for this month's Artist Alchemy. Don't forget to follow Yuba Sutter Arts on our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube channel. We're pretty hard to miss. So, and you can always go to YubaSutterArts.org for updates on all our programs. Thanks for watching. See you soon.